In Manor Lords, you play as a medieval lord, tasked by your king to establish and grow a new village, defend it against bandits and raiders, gather your economic and military strength, and expand into territory occupied illegally by the robber baron Hildebald. With the game's gridless building tools and beautiful graphics, you can create the medieval town of your dreams. But despite that, I keep seeing guides on how to optimize your town layout for ultimate efficiency and beat the baron on challenging difficulty. And while those are great, they miss what I believe makes this game so special: its grounded historical realism. And so I thought, surely we can find a balance between optimizing the game's mechanics and building a historically authentic medieval village. So, that's just what I set out to do. So, here we are. We're playing on the river map, and it looks like we're starting in the Tausenbrück region. And the first thing that we're going to do is pause the game and have a look around at what we're working with. And it looks like we've actually got quite a decent start here. The Tausenbrück region is the one at the center of this map. And we've got quite a lot of woods around us. We've got a rich iron deposit, as well as a rich shoal of fish, and wild animals really close by. So this should set us up pretty nicely for a decent start here. We've got some underground water going right through the center of our starting camp. Fertility's better than I thought it would be with 2 rich resource nodes. Barley's not great, but that's all right. We're probably not going to be doing a lot of farming, at least not in the first couple of years. On the challenging difficulty, the first few months of our new village are going to be pretty hectic. We're going to be limited to our 5 starting families for quite some time, so there's going to be a lot of villager micro here. And our immediate priority is going to be to get our starting supplies, which are exposed here at the moment. We want to get those off the ground and into a granary and storehouse, which of course means that we're first going to have to build a granary and a storehouse, which are going to be pretty important buildings to our new village. So before we do that, though, we'll get down a logging camp, and we'll want to... Medieval villages typically popped up around well-traveled roads, and since we've got our King's Road right here, we'll go ahead and clear out the trees between our starting camp and that road, and then we'll probably just pop up our the center of town around the King's Road here. So we'll drop down a logging camp close enough by that it's not going to take too long to drag our starting timber over there, and we'll also put down a hitching post so that we can get a second oxen ordered pretty much right away. Like I said, the main granary and storehouse are going to be pretty important buildings in our village, both from a historical and gameplay perspective. And I'll preface all of this by saying that I'm not a historian, so everything that I say about the historical context of the Middle Ages is all going to be secondhand information. But the main thing that I like to consider when I lay out a town in Manor Lords is that medieval towns grew naturally, and a lot of their shared communal buildings and resources, like the granary, the storehouse, even the saw pit or shared livestock, would be kept at the center of town where they were easily accessible. So what we're going to want to do is lay out our granary and storehouse kind of around the town center, where we'll also have our marketplace, which works out from the gameplay side of things as well, because to keep our marketplace optimally stocked, we want to have the granary and the storehouse that's supplying the marketplace pretty much right next to it. With our hitching post done, we'll go ahead and order a second ox, and we'll repause real quick so that we can get this granary and storehouse placed. We've got our iron right over here, so we want to make sure we leave some space there. I think we might just put the marketplace right on the road here, and we'll just have a bit of a... We'll have the well be kind of just off to the side, which isn't the worst thing. It's not too far. So we'll go ahead and put our granary down. Not there. Turn off the snapping and try to take as few trees with it as possible. But we'll put it right over here. And we'll, like I said, we're literally going to just pop up our town along the King's Road here, and we'll drag a second road out on the other side of this granary, and we'll make a bit of a market, kind of a town square in green between the two roads. So we'll drag that out to about there. And then for the storehouse, since with the British Iron Deposit, that's going to be pretty important to our town's development, we'll go ahead and put our storehouse relatively in the direction of that iron deposit, and we can put it so that it's still close to what will be the town center here, right about... We'll draw the road out first so we can snap it on. I want to ideally take as few trees out as possible. One is fine. The storehouse down there, and we'll go ahead and unpause and let our villagers start building. We'll set the logging camp as a high priority, although it's pretty much most of the way there already. And before we start thinking about putting down any burgage plots, we're going to want to make sure that we're meeting all of the needs of our villagers. Since this is going to be our town square here, we're going to set a work area for our logging camp to clear all the trees out. The way that I like to play, and again, this kind of goes with the historical realism, is that I don't like to take trees out with the building tools, or the field tool for that matter with farming. Obviously, if I were to just drop a any building onto these trees, it would just take them out. But that's not really very immersive. And also, think of all that wood that we could be using for things like planks. Speaking of planks, we're going to use our last 2 starting timber for a saw pit. The saw pit's going to be pretty important because, like I said, we're going to want to make sure that we're meeting all of the needs of our level 1 burgage plots before we even build those level 1 burgage plots. And the reason for that is on the challenging difficulty, the approval penalties for things like homelessness, which just popped up, and then not meeting the needs of the burgage plots are a lot more punishing than they are on normal difficulty. So before we build homes and then give our villagers an opportunity to scream about all of the things that we're not providing them, we're going to just go ahead and provide them and then build the homes, which will help out with keeping that approval not too in the red. We'll also want to get a fishing hut up pretty quickly. But first, like I said, we'll want to build a saw pit because we're going to need planks, not only for the church, which will be pretty important for the needs of our villagers, but we also need it for a tannery. And it looks like Hildebolt's written us a letter. He's heard of our renown, and he just wants to defend his rights, and his honor. But he doesn't have any honor, and he doesn't have any rights, because he is an illegitimate baron. So we'll send him back a strongly worded letter. But like I was saying, we're going to need planks both for the church, we need 20 there, and for the tannery, we'll need 6 there. So we want to get a saw pit down pretty quickly. And we'll put the saw pit close to our storehouse here. And I know I just said I don't like taking out trees, but, well, maybe we can fit it in the back here. Yeah, we'll put the saw pit in behind the storehouse, and then eventually we'll put a hitching post over there as well. First, we want to clear out all of these trees. Looks like our granary's been completed, so we'll go ahead and put a family on there so that we can get our starting supplies off the ground. And we'll do the same with our storehouse. The start here is going to be pretty hectic. I think I already said that, but we're going to be reassigning our 5 families to whatever is the most pressing priority at any given moment. So right now, that's getting these starting supplies off the ground and into the granary and into the storehouse, so they don't get damaged by rain. Because again, the penalty for leaving our stocks exposed on challenging difficulty is that they'll just get immediately soaked and destroyed. We've got some timber, so we'll go ahead and lay down a fisherman's hut as well. And we'll put that over here, I think. Yeah, we'll put it right here. And while we're at it, we'll draw a road out to the King's Road, which will also then connect it up to our town center and the granary. Let's draw these guys a road real quick so that these hand carts can move a little faster. Our next order of business is going to be to place a hunting camp and have someone, well, do some hunting. And this camp, and honestly a lot of the initial kind of forestry buildings, so the logging camp, the hunting camp, the woodcutter's lodge when we put it down, are going to be pretty temporary. Forestry was a whole profession, or I guess set of professions in and of itself in the medieval era. Woods were quite productive, both for natural resources and as a result for a village's economy. And so they were pretty well maintained. And with all these woods here, we're probably going to clear out all the woods around what's going to be our town center, including this iron deposit here. So all these woods here we'll probably clear out. But we'll probably want to keep this tract of woods here intact, and we'll push this herd of wild animals further into the woods, and we'll probably also set up a logging and our firewood gathering industries in these woods over here. But that's getting a bit ahead of ourselves. For now, we've got we will have a temporary hunting camp so that we can get in some meat as well as some hides, because like I said before, we're going to need a tannery, and the reason that we need the tannery before we build our burgage plots is that one of the requirements for level 1 burgage is clothing, and that clothing requirement can be fulfilled by leather, and you get leather by tanning hides at the tannery. All of our granary and storehouse workers should be done, so we'll unassign them. And for the time being, we'll put one more family on the logging camp so that we can get some more of these trees cleared out. So the fisherman's hut is completed. We'll go ahead and put a family on there. Okay, and our hunting camp is done as well. So we're out of villagers now that are unassigned, so we'll reassign a family from the logging camp, and we're going to want a family with 2 men because women don't hunt in Manor Lords. So we'll reassign one of the families with a father and a son onto the hunting camp so that they can both go hunting. And we'll also think about where we want to build our tannery in a moment here. Tanning in the medieval ages used, among other things, urine to tan hides into leather. So, as you can imagine, that didn't smell particularly great, so you typically wouldn't have your tanner living in the center of town, and tanners, as a result, were kind of looked down upon and were part of a lower social class. And for those couple of reasons, they'd be set up on the outskirts of town. Since we had said we're going to push this herd of wild animals further into the woods here, it makes sense that we'll set up our tanner on this edge of town, kind of close to the woods where the hunting would be done. We'll probably want to push these wild animals a bit further into the woods before we set up the tannery. Ideally, we'd want to put the tanner probably right around here so it's properly on the edge of town, so that, again, the smell, which isn't fully implemented yet into the game, but looks like it will be with this work in progress smell overlay. But for now, it's just sort of an immersion thing. We've got a good amount of timber in, so we can probably start thinking about putting a family on the saw pit and starting to produce some planks. We'll go ahead and set ourselves a timber reserve of 7 and a production limit of 30 planks. 7, we want to keep a reserve of 7 timber so that we have enough timber to build our church and our tannery, which need 5 and 2 respectively. And 30 planks will give us enough to build that church and that tannery. So we'll go ahead and reassign one of our families from the woodcutter onto the saw pit so that we can start getting those planks. And one of my favorite parts of this game is just how detailed all of the working animations are. It really makes the world feel alive, and paired with how nice the graphics look, it really just, I can lose hours just watching dudes cut planks. We've gotten 4 hides in, so we've got our father and son duo here shooting deer, creeping around the woods. Oh, what a shot. But with these 2 deer that they've just hunted, that should get us to the 6 hides that we need. And again, we want those 6 hides so that we have enough for our initial 5 burgage plots and 1 more, so that we're ready for our first new family that moves in to supply them and keep our approval up. But we do want to build a tannery, I think, before the church, so that we can get those hides tanned while the church is still being built, because it is going to take a minute to build the church, even with a few families working on it. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and we'll put down the tannery, and we'll move it to a more permanent location later. Since we're on it, we're also going to go to our storehouse and set the storehouse to not stock hides. This won't be important right now, but later on it'll improve the logistics of the tannery, since it'll be quicker for them to just walk to the hunting camp right next door and grab the hides from there rather than the storehouse transporting all the hides into the middle of town, and then the tanner having to come get them from the middle of town and walk them all the way back out to the tannery when he could have just gotten them from the hunting camp. Alright, we've also, looks like now we've got enough timber and planks that we can build our church. The church in medieval times was a very important building and institution, for that matter. They had a lot of influence over many parts of life. So they're going to be a pretty central location in our new town. That also, again, helps mechanically because more often than you'd want them to, your villagers decide, hey, I gotta go talk to God, and head over to the church to pray. So having the church be close to the center of town means it'll be closely accessible by all of our villagers. Putting it here will give us enough room to put we'll put it right there. That'll give us enough room that when we start building burgages, we can put some burgages in right on the town square and give them enough of a backyard in front of the church there. Again, we'll go ahead and draw a road in, and we might as well drag this road in front of the granary as well while we're at it, and then drag from there out to the church. We'll add some curves in so it's not a dreaded grid. I did say this was going to be a beautiful and natural looking town. So far, we've got a lot of right angles. It's temporary, I promise. Alright, there's the tannery. Since that's up now, we'll go ahead and assign a family onto the tannery so that we can get those hides turned into leather before the church is completed. Since we're on our last couple residential requirements, we're also going to think about putting down our market, as well as the well, which is going to be a bit out of the way now, but it's fine. You know, I was originally thinking that this road was going to be pretty temporary, but with where the well's going to need to be, it's looking more and more permanent by the minute. Guess we'll put this here, sure. What the hell, sure. So, with the marketplace, we're going to want to put that right here in the center of town, or what will be the center of town. That's not the marketplace, that's the marketplace. And having it be right next to the granary and the storehouse is going to help it stay well supplied. We'll do this. 22 market stalls will be more than enough for us. And go ahead and drag this road in here. Surround it. And we'll, since we're waiting for the church to be built, we can play around with where we want our trading post to go. We're going to build a trading post relatively early here. And the reason for that is on the challenging difficulty, we don't get an armament delivery when we put down our first burgages, which means that when the raiders come at the end of the second winter, if we don't have either a means of weapons and shield production or regional wealth to hire mercenaries, our new village is going to be turned to ash. So building a trading post and selling anything we can will help us out a lot there. I'm thinking we can probably just put this here so that it's literally right next to the storehouse. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put it right there. And I guess we'll draw this road in first. We should probably drag it from back here so that it fits next to the saw pit as well. Ooh, that's getting wonky real quick. Alright, now that the road's in, we can go ahead and drop down our trading post. There. We've got all our leather tanned, so we can go ahead and unassign the family from the tannery and have them start helping out with the church. And yeah, we're in pretty good shape here. We're through what is the most hectic part of the setup here on challenging difficulty. This is just kind of getting all of this laid out. At this point, all we still need to lay out is the initial burgage plots, and then we just need to, at that point, transition into the early growth. At this point, we'll reassign a family from, I think, from the fishing hut temporarily onto the granary. And then we'll assign one of our unassigned families onto, actually no, we'll reassign the family from the logging camp onto the storehouse. And the reason that we're doing that is we want to stock this marketplace before our burgages get built. And now that our church is nearly done, we'll go ahead and draw in those burgages. All of our starting burgage plots, or our initial burgage plots, are going to be kind of built up around the town square here. So we'll draw one here next to the church, and we'll draw in a couple more here, give them some slightly bigger backyards. I guess we can snap it that way. And then we'll have another here. It's 4, and then we'll put another one over here by the trading post. Right about there. And with the well here, there'll be a road most likely coming in the back here. So we'll draw their backyard out to about here. Alright, our first couple burgage plots are done. And we can go ahead and have a look and see what we've done. Ooh, the well isn't finished. We'll make that a high priority real quick. But as you can see here, we're covering off all of these residential requirements before these burgages are complete, which is exactly what we wanted. Alright, with those burgage plots done, our settlement level has increased to small village, and we've got a development point, which is great. So we have to pretty much 2 good options here. Or I guess 3, since advanced pawn keeping is a good option. But I'll probably hold off on that. Our 2 major contenders here are charcoal burning and orchardry. The reason for that is orchardry is going to help with our food variety, especially if we can get an orchard set up before the farming, I guess the harvest season starts in September. And charcoal burning is good because it'll help with our goal of starting up our trade economy. Charcoal is a really, really good trade good to export, and it's really easy to make. You only need 2 families on the production chain. You need a family on a firewood cutter and a family on a charcoal kiln. You can improve it obviously with a storehouse and some better logistics, but at its core, you really just need 2 families, one to cut firewood and one to turn it into charcoal. But at this point, we still only have 5 families, and really we have 2 families available, since 2 need to be on the granary and the storehouse to keep the marketplace stocked, and then we need 1 for building and moving oxen around. So we're a bit limited still on families until we get some immigration going, so I think we're going to take the orchardry development point first, and charcoal burning is going to be our second once we get our first couple level 2 burgage plots and then increase our settlement to a small village. We do need another burgage plot so that we have an available living space, and we'll put one over here by this fisherman's hut. Although, back to my Lorax rule of not cutting down trees with buildings, we're going to need to at least get these trees cleared out. Since the backyard extension ones we can get later, but these couple we want to get. I'm not too worried about getting a burgage plot up before the start of the next month. The reason for that is pretty simple, and that's we just don't have enough positive historic approval from the previous month section there to balance out the negatives here. So we're going to roll a lot of negative approval into the next month. Looks like our trading post is complete. Our initial trade is going to be whatever we have on hand, which is going to be planks. Go ahead and reduce our desired surplus down to... yeah, we'll just leave it at 0 for now. And we'll pay to establish a trade route. The reason we're doing that is we don't want to dedicate a villager to trading, since we're in the middle of the map here and pretty far from a trade point, and we just don't have the spare labor to let someone just walk all the way over there. So by opening a trade route, we'll have the foreign traders come to us. So all we need to do is have a family stock the trading post. And we'll go ahead and build burgage plot over here for the fishermen. And one thing that I love about this game is the burgage, the backyard extension of the burgages, where you can build in a vegetable garden, a chicken coop, or once you upgrade to level 2 burgages, some specialized craftsman buildings, so blacksmith, a cobbler, a bowyer, a joiner, and so on. And there's a couple buildings that don't have or aren't backyard extensions, but I like to build them as if they were. One of those is the fishing hut. I think it makes sense that the fisherman would live pretty close to his hut and his pond that he fishes out of. So we'll go ahead and set up a burgage plot here that will, in the long run, be where our fisherman lives. Obviously, in the beginning here still, we're pretty limited on workforce, so this isn't going to be a permanent assignment immediately. But once we get ourselves a bit better established, this will permanently be our fishermen. And we'll do the same thing with the tannery. I think at this point where we are, we're probably not going to make it to 50 regional wealth. and 2 new families. Well, certainly not 2 new families before September. And I don't want to waste 50 regional wealth on a small orchard in one of these backyards. So at this point, we're not going to worry too much about getting orchard up before the harvest season. We'll just focus on getting our tanner set up where we want him to. Alright, so those trees are done, or, well, are cut. So now we can get to what I've been talking about, which is moving this herd of deer further into the woods. We can accomplish that by cutting some of the trees that is part of their habitat. So we'll reassign our logging camp work area to right here, and as we start cutting down these trees, that herd of deer is going to move further into the woods. It looks like we're also starting to run short on firewood, so we'll go ahead and get, not a forester hut, a woodcutter's lodge built, and we'll put this here with our temporary forestry setup here. Just put that right there for now. Again, all of these are very temporary, as is this. One thing we can do, though, is we can move this hitching post into the center of town, and we can either put it here, although I'm thinking we can probably put a burgage plot here, have it facing the marketplace, right? This looks like it's big enough for a burgage plot. Yeah, totally is. Even 2 even. Wow, new market layout unlocked. Awesome. But this looks like it's prime real estate for not much other than a hitching post. So we'll go ahead and drop our hitching post into... We might even be able to fit 2 in here. Cool. See if I can get it a bit more into the corner there if I turn off snapping. Yeah, let's see. Can I get another one in here if I want to? Oh, not quite. That's so unfortunate. Well, we can always redraw this road. In fact, we will redraw this road. First, we'll put in that hitching post. We'll put it right here. And then we'll redraw this road. There we go. Alright, now we've got a couple more hitching posts in the center of town here. Okay, so at this point, we are, like I said, through the most chaotic period. What we need the most at the moment is we need to make sure that we're keeping at least 1 available living space going into the start of every month. Because at this point, we should be carrying enough positive approval to start getting some new families moving in. And we also want to keep producing some more planks so that we can start selling them. We're going to need 32 regional wealth to be able to afford an orchard, which means we'll need... What, 16 planks to sell if there are 2 each? Yeah, 16 planks, which we've almost got at this point. But we'll get a bit more timber in before we reassign that family to our saw pit. And we're running out of fuel. Thank you. There we go. So the wild animals have moved a little bit. I think that should be just about close enough. We can't move the tannery per se, but we can delete it and rebuild it. Let's see. If we set this up here, that should be decent enough. Yeah, we'll keep the tannery at the top of the hill here. And then we'll put the Tanner's Burgers plot down the hill like this, maybe? Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so these are far enough out of the way now that... Ooh, hello. That we don't have to worry about sending them halfway across the region by building a tannery. But since we're not racing against the harvest season for our orchard, we'll wait a little bit and focus on our other goals, which is selling some planks, which means producing some planks. And we've got a new family, which will be our fishermen. We'll go ahead and, since we have a new family now to work with, we'll unassign whoever this is, whichever burgage this is, from Fisherman's Hut, and we'll reassign this new family into it. And we'll also go ahead, I think we could put a vegetable plot here. Yeah, I think we will. We'll go ahead and put another new burgage plot here. Probably made that a double, and we'll go ahead and draw this road out first, and then have the plot tool draw the backyard extension onto the shape of the road, so we can have it look nice and organic. So we'll draw our burgage plot here. And then out to here, I guess. Do it like that. We'll get the most, or the flattest line here. So we'll build that burgage plot there. And then this will be kind of prime candidate for a vegetable garden as well, since it's a longer backyard. And again, since we're not going to go too crazy with trying to get that orchard in the interest of keeping a couple open living spaces, we'll go ahead and double up this burgage plot, and then we'll also double up this one here. Yeah, we'll do it now. Why not? We've got enough timber laying around. Although I guess let's reduce this timber reserve down to 4, I guess, so that we can start building some planks. Fuel, that's right. I forgot about the fuel. Who can we reassign onto our woodcutter? We could probably also get some more meat. Our herd of animals is just about pretty populated enough. I guess we'll have our logging camp, we'll reassign them onto the woodcutter's lodge, and since we're going to be building our tanner over here, we'll have the woodcutter focus on these trees over here. We will reassign our logging camp to firewood camp, and then once we've got some firewood in so that we don't freeze to death, we'll reassign the firewood cutters, or even the new family that we get the next month, to the hunting camp, so that we get some more meat in and some more hides. What are we yelling about? Bandit camp and the Baron. Unfortunately, on this difficulty, there's not a lot we can do about it. We gotta just sit back and let the Baron take all the bandit camps and grow his influence. Because there's nothing we can do about it. We gotta worry about ourselves. But we have a fair few planks in now. We're gonna go ahead and reassign since we've reached this reserve, we'll go ahead and reassign our carpenters onto the trading post so that we can stock up the saw pit. I also noticed that our plank production limit is 30, so we'll up that up to 100. But we'll go ahead and have that family stock up our trading post with all of our planks so that someone can come buy them and we can get some regional wealth in. We had a new family move in at the start of September, which is excellent. Oh, look at that. We already sold some planks. The trader must have been close by, which is great because now we can afford an orchard. We would have... I guess it would have been closer than I thought it was going to be. We do have enough regional wealth now that we can put in a vegetable garden and still have enough left over to build an orchard later. So I think we'll do that. We'll get a vegetable garden in to this backyard, which is relatively decently sized. Another thing that we can think about doing here as we enter the growth phase is we can think about building our manor. Now that we're at the point where we're preparing to level up 2 of our burgage plots so that we can get our charcoal production so that we can start making some real money, we're going to want to be able to tax that real money, which means we're going to want a manor. But to build a manor, we need stone and some more planks, but we're working on that. But fieldstone, luckily, is we got a stone deposit, or a fieldstone deposit, pretty close by here. So we'll go ahead and get a stone cutter camp set up there, and we'll just draw out this road, I guess. And this slanted road is working out a nice way for me here. It's looking nice. But I can just drag it out here. Definitely meant to do that. Sometimes when you build organically, these things just happen. Or something like that. Stonecutter camp. That's what we're doing. Looks like it's sloping down the hill here a little bit, so we'll build this on the flatter ground at the top of the hill here. Right about here, I guess. And we'll drag our road on over. And then we'll send it over to our stonecutter camp. Okay, so that'll be our stonecutter camp. That needs timber and planks. Still need more fuel. Still need more fish, but we're working on it. We're working on planting some veggies back here, and we still have 2 available living spaces. Do we just plant an orchard here? It's kind of small still. Yeah, you know what? What the hell? Oh, well, I guess we don't have a family here yet. Once someone moves in here, here, we'll turn that into an orchard. And then we can turn these into veggies as well, once we get some more money in. Alright, there's our stonecutter camp, and good God, what is happening over here? Oh, Hildebolt's rolling on through, and the game really wants me to know about it. We'll go ahead and throw throw a family onto the stonecutter camp, so that we can get the stone that we need for our manor, and since we're working on that, we're also going to want to get some more planks made. We'll need how many timber? 5 timber for our manor, so we'll go ahead and reset this reserve to 5. Since we have enough firewood, for the time being at least, we'll reassign them onto the hunting camp. The reason we're doing that now is that our herd of wild animals has repopulated enough that they're at full again, so we want to start hunting them so that we don't miss out on any juicy meat and hides. But since that's all in place, we'll go ahead and start thinking about where we want to put our manor so that we can move in ourselves. And I think since we have an iron deposit right nearby, that's going to be of strategic importance. And with the rich iron, we'll be able to set up a blacksmith, and maybe even an armor smith, especially if we're going charcoal. We can go deep mining, as well as armor making and even advanced armor making. I think, yeah, that's probably going to be the rest of our development points, is fully down into the mining tree. But with that, we'll want to keep our blacksmiths and our armor smiths pretty close by to our manor, since they'd be of strategic importance. We want them to be pretty close to the castle, so that if our village was attacked, we could get them inside the walls as quickly as possible. Obviously, not a feature that's in the game yet, but from a historical and realism perspective, it would make sense that you'd want to, as the Lord, have your most valuable peasants, in this case the swordsmith, the armor smith, in the most protected position. Look at that, we're already talking about our most valuable peasants. So we'll probably put the manor right around over here, pretty close to the ironworks, and also pretty close to the center of town. We'll put our castle's a bit of an exaggeration until the next update when we get actual stone castles, but our keep, our wooden keep, we'll put it over here against these woods, where we would, at least, if we had any planks or stone. Come on, people, where are we at? Yeah, there we go. You cut those stones. We need that to build our house. Good peasants. Very good peasants. Speaking of good peasants, we've got new peasants moving in. Beautiful. Where are they moving in? Right here. We'll go ahead and build our orchard, since we've got a family moving in here, and this will be our next burgers plot that we double up. It's not the biggest orchard, but it's a reasonable sized backyard plot, and the apple trees are going to look really nice in this yard here as you enter into town from this direction once they're matured and full size. Looks like the Baron is already claiming his first additional region. Awesome. Great for us. Ooh, we got a lot of stone. You can, alright, chill out. We don't need that much. Yet, at least. Oh, and we have enough planks as well. Look at that. We'll go ahead and set our desired surplus on our trading post to 50, I guess, so that we don't sell anything at the moment. And we will go ahead and place our manor down, and like I was saying, I think we'll put the manor over here towards the edge of the woods and reasonably close to the center of town. We'll put it right over here next to these nice couple of trees, so that we've got some nice trees on our land. And we'll drop that down, and we'll drag a road out to the center of town. Alright, we've connected our manor with a road. We are fresh out of timber, so we can go ahead and unassign the family from the saw pit and put someone on the logging camp. Man, this game really just is pretty to look at. Say what you will about Unreal Engine, but it looks nice. Watch these peasants digging turnips all day. But we won't do that. Because we have a manor to build. So we'll watch that instead. Alright, and there we go. We've got ourselves a manor. But that's about where we'll leave it for now. If you've made it all the way to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you don't miss the next episode, where we're going to get our charcoal production up, start making some real money by selling said charcoal, and hopefully watch our town not get burnt to a crisp by raiders in just over a year's time. So, again, thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.